Hi friends, welcome back to the Cloud channel. If you don't know me, my name is Katie and I own a little tiny bookish business called Katie Clouds. A few days ago we passed our 1 month anniversary on YouTube, which is so crazy to say, but so far I've really only uploaded like studio vlogs, and I feel like if you were to have come across us on YouTube and we've only got the studio vlogs, we're kind of missing a bit of context and you might not know that much about us. So I thought if we were to do a little Q&A, we could all start to learn a bit more about each other and give the videos a bit of context. I think it's a good idea. I asked the girlies over on Instagram if there was any questions that they wanted to ask, and I've made a little list that we can get through. A lot of the questions were similar, so I've like compiled them a little bit, so like I'm not repeating myself, and it should have some kind of structure. I'm gonna try to go from beginning to end in terms of the chronology, so it's like chronological. I was trying to say the other one, like chronology, who knows, not me. Anyway, I do think it's probably best we get started because there's quite a few questions and I feel like I can talk for hours about the clouds, so let's get started. The main question we got was, I just want to preface this with I am not feeling too well. I woke up with a sore throat and now I have a little bit of a temperature. We're getting through it, but if I sound off, quiet, that's the reason why. Just prefacing the quality of my, you know what I mean. Anyway, the main question that we got was, what made you start your business? How did Katie Clouds begin? And how did you come up with the idea to start Katie Clouds? The origins of Katie Clouds was like the main question, honestly. So I started Katie Clouds in October 2019. I just graduated from university. I was studying criminology at the time, so absolutely no links there. I'd literally just finished my second summer working in New Hampshire in the States, and one of my jobs while I was there was working in a gift shop. It all comes together, I promise, bear with me. Basically, in the gift shop, we sold scrunchies, and they were literally the prettiest scrunchies I've ever seen in my life. I'm not even joking. So I literally vowed that when I was to get home from the States, I was going to come home and learn how to make my own scrunchies. And that's what I did. I literally spent not even £10 on fabric, and I came home and I started learning how to make scrunchies on my mum's sewing machine. And a few weeks later, I put them up to for sale on Depop, if that is even still going, if you know what that is. And a few days later, I sold one, and that was the beginning of Katie Clouds. Me selling one scrunchie, one Halloween scrunchie on the app Depop. My name, Katie Clouds, which I really dislike, by the way. One thing, if you are thinking of starting your own business, just don't put your name in there. You're gonna regret it. Worst decision I ever made. Don't do it. I'm too far gone. Don't let yourself be too far gone. Don't do it. But Katie obviously is my name, and Clouds because scrunchies look like little clouds. I really feel like, do I have a scrunchie here? Listen, I sell scrunchies for a living and I can never find one, and there's like 100 around this house, and every time I want one, there's never one around, and they're all just in one space. Oh my god, my voice is getting like, I'm so sorry because that's so gross, but I'm just feeling a little unwell. There's not, but I'm gonna put a picture up and it's gonna look like a cloud, and Katie Clouds, that's how we came up with the name. Did I think it would become a proper business? Absolutely not. I didn't even set out for it to be a proper business. I was just selling the scrunchies that I made on Depop for, I think at the time it was like £2, and I would have absolutely been losing money because I was literally just buying fat quarters. If you know what they are, it's literally just 1/4 of a meter of fabric, and they're really expensive when you buy them that small. I would have been losing money for sure. I did not start this out to be a business, but yeah, and now we're here. I'd literally just graduated in the summer of 2019, and I was in the States for 4 months. So when I got back at the end of September. I'd quit my job before I went over there because I knew I was graduating, and I presumed I would be like applying for graduate jobs when I got back. That obviously didn't happen, so I had no job to come back to at the time. Like October 2019 is when I made Katie Clouds, or when I started posting on Depop. At the time, I was teaching English as a second language online, and I was also doing subtitles for a video company online as well. So I had 2 online jobs. So when I say that this was absolutely not the plan, I was not meant to be sitting here telling you how Katie Clouds begun. It's crazy. It's just crazy. It's crazy how things work out. But yeah, that was the origins of Katie Clouds and how we began. Honestly, it feels like a happy accident, because I was studying criminology. Like, I have never took a business course in my life, not even at school. Like, I was not supposed to be here. Like, I was not supposed to be here. You know, I say a lot of times that I'm winging it, and I really am truly winging it. And honestly, I could not be more grateful that I've been able to make this my full-time job. It's such a blessing, and yeah, I'm extremely grateful. Hopefully there are many more years to come. Fingers crossed. Okay, second question. How did you keep your motivation going in the early days? This is a difficult one. Keeping motivation going for me is a bit of a difficult one, because when I first started, we started about 5 months before COVID hit, and we were put into lockdown. So, like, basically, I was at home making scrunchies, and I had nothing else to do, because we were all in lockdown, and then everyone else was also in lockdown, so everyone was buying stuff. Everyone had nothing to do really but sit at home and buy stuff. So it was a great time to start a small business, to be honest. I was very lucky that I fell into that section. And yeah, so at the start, the motivation was natural. There was nothing else to do, and it was fun. I still at that time wasn't really, not that I wasn't taking it seriously, but compared to how I take it now, I was not taking it seriously. I'd do what needed to be done, and that would be it. And I'd be done by like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm not even joking. Like, compared to now, back then, I was not taking it seriously. I was taking it seriously, don't get me wrong. I was very grateful for all the orders I had and stuff like that, but I was just doing what needed to be done, and I was doing it well, but I was not going the extra mile back then. So yeah, it was just a different time, really. But the motivation seemed to come easily. These days, it is a bit harder, because most days I work like 12 hours a day, especially it's a lot more than that if like we're in like a lunch period. And at heart, I am such a tired girly. Like, I live my life tired. I am always tired. I wake up tired. Motivation sometimes can be hard, but I could not be more grateful for the community we've been able to build, and that is one of the reasons that gives me such motivation, because I get to speak to you guys every day, and it's so lovely, and I'm so blessed, and I absolutely do not want to take it for granted. And there's not one moment that I've took it for granted. Honestly, I feel incredibly blessed. Motivation is a difficult one, but I try my best, and that's all that matters. At the end of the day, if I don't get up and work, like, I don't make a living, and I can't support myself. So she's got to get out of bed, even when she's a tired girly. I think it's also super important to say that, like, if you are running a small business and your motivation is a bit lacking, like, that's okay. Like, it doesn't mean that you don't care about your business, or you don't care about the community that you've built, or anything like that. This is such a 24 hour, I was supposed to say 24/7, but you get the point. It's such a 24/7 job, and it's so difficult to turn off. So if your motivation is lacking, like, give yourself a break. Absolutely give yourself a break. I've been kinder to myself this year and giving myself breaks, and honestly, the motivation you have coming back is, like, you need to take a break. Absolutely take a break. And that really helps with motivation as well, making sure you take time for breaks and not just like hitting the wall all the time. Look at me, like, advice Sally. That's not advice. Advice Meg. No, that's Mystic Meg. What's the advice column called? That's not gonna come to me, but maybe I'll find that out. We love a little. And the third question we got was, is there anything you want to make but can't? And the answer is yes. There are many things I want to make, and I just don't physically have the time or space to make them. My main, like, oh my god, I really think this would be such a good thing for my business, would be to be able to make book jackets. Basically, it's like a little protective cover that you put around the book, like wraps around. We just got an order. That was what that noise was. That didn't pop up on my phone though. Oh, it did. Hang on, I'm going to show you. Please focus. Can you see that? Oh, here we go. I don't know who that was from, but thank you so very much. What an exciting thing to just happen in the middle of the day. Anyway, yeah, basically they wrap around the book and protect the cover. So like you can have that on your book while you're reading, and it just like, yeah, it kind of like, also I think the main reason a lot of people use them is to hide the books they're reading. Maybe they're not like, maybe you go to work and you read like super spicy books and you don't want anyone to know what you're reading. You can just put your little book jacket around them while you're reading it. I would so love to be able to stock these and make these at the Cloud. Like, god, that is what I wish that we'd be able to sell, but honestly I just don't have the time or the space. The space is probably not that much of an issue, but I don't have the time to physically make another item. And yeah, it's really sad, but being realistic with myself, I just can't do it. Basically, like, if I have to sew it, it just can't be added to the collections anymore, because I make everything that we have in the collections right now: book sleeves, Kindle sleeves, hardback sleeves, scrunchies, keychains. I mark, cut, sew, finish everything. And then the bookmarks and the Kindle inserts, I cut them myself as well. We do get them made out of house, but I cut them to size myself. Listen, I could not physically add something else to the collection, and I'll tell you why. I've literally just had to go and borrow a big wire off my sister, because as you know, I'm still not very good at this, and I just ran up the stairs. I go to the gym actually, so you'd think I'd be fitter than this, but obviously not. Yeah, as you know, I'm not very good at this, and didn't charge the camera before I started filming, so hopefully this works. Okay, I think I was explaining why we can't make any more items for the collections, and basically for each collection, obviously I make everything, and in terms of items to sew, there's literally maybe like between 200 and 300 items that need to be sewn every single launch, and it takes me like some time at the minute for our launches. If we sell out, which very thankfully we have the past few times, I'll start preparing beforehand, but there'll still be that much to sew that I'll still be sewing afterwards, after the launch. So it takes about 1 week for me to get everything out to everyone after a launch. 1 week is my maximum. Like, I do not want anyone waiting longer than 1 week for items that they've paid for. I just, like, I can't, like, it would eat me up inside. Absolutely not. It's absolutely not happening. If I was to add anything else I had to make to the collections, we're literally looking at like a 2 to 3 week turnaround time after launch, and nope, not me, not my business, sorry. And I know, I completely understand other handmade businesses who have such a long turnaround time. It's just a personal preference. Like, I just know personally, like, literally personal opinion or personal preference, if I was to have bought something, I'm not an impatient girly, but I just want it when I bought it. Do you know what I mean? And if I had to wait 2 to 3 weeks for an item that I bought, like, I wouldn't, not that I wouldn't want it, but it's just not for me. Like, I just want the items as soon as possible, and longer than a week for me is not, it's just not how I want to run my business. I'm not judging anyone who has a turnaround time like that, but I don't want my business to have a turnaround time longer than a week if need be. Don't get me wrong, like, if I might go a day or two over, but just, I mean, like, on a consistent basis, that is not how I want to be. The future of adding new things to the Cloud is definitely 100% gonna be in manufacturing if I keep the Cloud to myself, and that is literally because I just physically can't make anything else. So yeah, if I wanted to add something else to the cloud. Oh no, that wasn't the question. The question was, do I want to add anything else to the cloud that I can't? That is the answer. And also, obviously, I'd love to do all like the t-shirts, all the jumpers and stuff like that from the back room in our house. It's just absolutely not possible, and yeah, not the priority at the minute. Okay, the fourth question is a bit more fun. What is your favourite book slash your number one favourite read of all time slash favourite author? So we love a little bookish diversion. Okay, let me think. I don't have to think too hard, honestly, but I think the books I'm going to say are in relation to, I was going to say what they mean to me, but not that like dramatic. It's just that these two books kind of got me back into reading and also gave me a next push. Okay, let me tell them and I'll explain why. Okay, the first book that got me back into reading and honestly gave my business a big massive push was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This book honestly has nothing to do specifically with like making money and growing rich as it says. It's more of like a personal development book and how to succeed and how to achieve the things you want to achieve, and honestly it was a big game changer for me. I feel like once I'd read this book, it really motivated me to start taking Katie Clouds really seriously, and that is when the growth of my business happened. I would recommend this book wholeheartedly if you were trying to achieve something, if you were starting a business. It's a really old book, honestly, but the theories and the things inside the book are just so like applicable. Every chapter gives you examples, and yeah, it's honestly, it sounds really, the title of the book sounds really pretentious, but honestly what's inside the book is not Think and Grow Rich on such a vague level. It's very much about changing your mindset, and honestly it's a great book and I would recommend it, especially if you're planning to start a new business, if you have a small business or are thinking of starting one. The second book is the book that, it was the first fiction book that I'd read since literally high school. And even in high school, like, you used to read the books with the class, but you weren't like reading the book, do you know what I mean? So I do not know how long it had been since I'd read a fiction book at this point, but it was the book that got me into reading fiction again, and it was Fourth Wing. I love this book so much. It was the first fiction book that I'd read in a really long time, fantasy specifically, and I am a fantasy girly if you did not know. As I've read more fantasy books since reading this book, I must say it's not as high in my favourites list anymore as it was originally. Obviously, I only had one fantasy book properly to go on back then, so it would be so high, but yeah, I do have favourites that come close now, but just in terms of its significance, like, that really got me back into reading fiction, fantasy specifically, and yeah, it's a really good book. I must say, the first book, Love 5 Stars, literally my favourite. This is why it's getting a shout out. I haven't enjoyed the rest of the series, honestly, and I think that's because it's becoming, obviously, heavily romance based, and as a personal preference, that bores me. So the first book, Love, the other few books, Iron Flame and Onyx Storm, I didn't enjoy, but it is what it is. Oh my god, I really apologise for just my voice and the noises. I'm really not feeling well. We're powering through. I hope you don't mind. Question number 5 is, what advice would you give to someone who wanted to start a small business today? Honestly, this question came up a lot, and I could talk for 300,000 hours on this subject. I am no means an expert. I am winging it. I know what I'm doing, but I absolutely don't at the same time. And I still feel like I have a lot to say on this topic, especially in terms of speaking to someone who literally knows nothing and is thinking of starting a small business, because that is exactly how I was when I first started. And if I knew a lot of the things I know now when I started, like, wow, where would we be today? No, obviously it's not that easy, but I do feel like I have a lot to say on the matter. I would really love to go into it, actually. I feel like I could say some helpful things, and yeah, actually, I really do want to go into it, so I'm going to make a separate video for this topic. I think it's really important to share the knowledge because we're going to make a separate video on this topic, so watch this space. Yeah, I feel like this video will be like 20 hours long and I'd only just be starting. I am a bit of a rambler, but yeah, we'll make a new video for this topic and we'll all share and we can all succeed together. I feel like that's not answering the question though, and I feel like the quickest thing I can say with zero context would be 1, start absolutely right now. 2, 2, from the beginning, make sure your business or brand is front facing. Make sure you are on those social media pages, and it's not easy, but get your face out there, get yourself out there, get yourself on the social media. It works 200 times more than if you're not showing your face. And I know it's scary, believe me, I know it's scary, but just as a quick point to make sure you're front facing. Number 3, make sure you have a product that is problem solving. Yeah, they would be just ones off the top of my head that I can say without going into too much detail. Okay, question number 6, I'm smiling already, is who is your favourite Liverpool player? Charlotte, you asked this question. If you're watching this, please know that this is my favourite question of the set of questions. It's my favourite question. If you don't know, me and my family are huge Liverpool fans. I feel like in the background of all my videos lately has been the flag because we won the league, so you're probably well aware of that fact. But to answer the question, my favourite player at Liverpool on a general basis, like not like today or yesterday, just my favourite player is obviously Mo Salah. What that man has done for our club, what he's achieved, the loyalty he has shown to our club as such an elite player, I love that man so much. Mo Salah is absolutely my favourite player. Van Dijk also, he comes a close second. But this season, my favourite player is actually McAllister because what a player. Absolutely what a player. That was my favourite question. Thank you so much, Charlotte. Up the Reds. Anyway. Okay, the second to last question we got was, how do you pick what designs to do? Honestly, the answer is vibes. Absolutely, I pick the patterns that we have at the club based on vibes, based on club vibes, if it matches the aesthetic. Honestly, it's very much a visual decision. Yeah, see it, know that you'll like it. That is absolutely going in the next collection. And I do extensive research finding these patterns, honestly, to make sure that we have the right ones that I know you'll love. I do usually have a general theme in mind. So up until now, I would like think of a theme that I wanted for the collection. A lot of the year it is like seasonal, so it's not too hard to think of the collection up. But I would think of the theme and then I would just go out of my way to find patterns that I think are like aesthetically pleasing, usually pink, just to match the Katie Cloud's aesthetic. That is basically how I pick them. However, this next collection I've actually drawn the pattern myself and I'm hoping that I can stay consistent with this. And yeah, it's going to be difficult, but I'm going to try my best. Even now when I'm going to be drawing them, it's just going to be a case of knowing what aesthetic I want for the next collection and then trying to draw it. However, that's absolutely more difficult than it sounds, so we're going to see how far we get with that because I'm really unsure. But so far, that's how it's been. Okay, the final question is absolutely the hardest one. Question number 8 is, what's your future goals? This is a difficult one because honestly, I have no idea. And yeah, obviously that's a bit of an issue. Yeah, honestly, I don't know, which isn't an ideal answer and it's not an ideal situation to be in. Honestly, if I was to be so blessed to get to a point where I'd have to decide whether I want to expand the business, maybe get a unit, hire, or whether I was just gonna keep the cloud to myself and just keep it as something that I'm making an income from, just for myself. I'd be so blessed to be in that position, and honestly, I still don't know what the answer would be. It's difficult. It's difficult. I don't know what my future goals are, honestly, which sounds so insane to say. I'm just not a girly that has it that much together. Like I said, we are absolutely winging everything we do on this channel. And on this channel, I've only been here a month. I'm absolutely winging what I do in terms of the cloud. I take it extremely seriously, but just in terms of where it's going, I know I want to grow, and I have set goals and work towards goals for it to grow every single day, every single hour of every single day. However, just that end goal is not clear to me yet, and it's not ideal, but I think it's okay at the minute. Yeah, we don't need to know all the answers right now. That's what I'm telling myself anyway. As you know, I never really set out to make this a business in the first place, so everything that's happened so far kind of feels like a happy accident. Okay, maybe not happy accident, because I do work incredibly hard to try and, or I do work incredibly hard, start again. I have worked incredibly hard to get it to the point where it is now, and we are at no means in a place where I want it to be. We could absolutely grow 200 times more, but obviously I wasn't even like thinking that this was going to happen at all. And you're probably thinking, oh girl, you've had like 5 years to think about it. Yep, you're right, and I still don't know. Sorry. Oh, this is a hard question. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I have absolutely no idea. I have many goals for this year, and they all involve growing the cloud as much as I possibly can, and I work towards them every single day. However, that end goal just isn't clear for me yet, and there's not much else I can say, to be honest, because I just don't know. Maybe, hopefully, in a few months' time, we can revisit this question and I can share with you the future goals for the cloud. But until then, anything is possible. Like I said, I'm largely winging this, and to a certain extent have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. So at the minute, I'm just extremely grateful that I have you all to hold my hand while we figure it all out together. Unless I've absolutely smashed the editing here, which is absolutely not going to happen, I think this video is going to be a bit long. So if you're still watching by this point, I'm incredibly grateful. I hope you've learned a bit more about the cloud and me and the context in which all of our studio vlogs sit on. If you have any other questions for me, please feel free to leave them down below, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. While you're there, please leave like a sick emoji, just because I'm not feeling well right now, and yeah, that's the first one that comes to mind. So you know, like the little green one. Yeah, I don't know why I'm smiling about a green emoji being sick. However, yeah, comment that if you're still here watching. I'd be so grateful. Thank you again so much for watching. I hope this video turns out well and it's not just me croaking along. But yeah, thank you for watching. I'm so incredibly grateful. I guess that's it. In a bit.